Hey guys, welcome to another Gauging Gadgets Garmin review video. In this video, I'll be doing a comparison between the Garmin Forerunner 245 right here on the left and the Garmin Forerunner 645 on the right. Currently, the Forerunner 645 is $399 with the Music Edition being $450. The Forerunner 245 is currently $300 with the Music Edition being $350. So check the description and please support me by using those links down there if you're going to be purchasing one of these. So you have a $100 price difference right now between the 645 and the 245, with the 245 being newer, cheaper, and it has some of the latest features. So my goal of this video is to go over as many of the features, show you the different menus, talk about all of the differences between these watches. So let's begin with the design and the build of these devices. Both devices have Gorilla Glass Class 3, so there's going to be very similar with the durability of the display. As you can see, the biggest difference here is going to be this stainless steel bezel on the 645, and then you actually have this black bezel, which is made of a carbon fiber plastic, but it's actually very tough feeling. It feels very strong, and before I looked it up to see what it was made out of, I was convinced that it was metal. Now with the size differences, it's extremely similar, with the 645 being about a millimeter thicker than the 245, so really no difference there. When it comes to the watch bands, you're going to have the same exact watch band, the standard 20 millimeter watch band, and the bands that came with them look to be exactly the same, so no difference there. So as you can see, I have the same watch faces being displayed on these, but you don't have the option of having live heart rate on the 645 where you do have that on the 245. That's really the only difference I've found. The resolution is exactly the same. It's going to be 240 by 240, so no difference there really in the look. It's just going to be that technology where you can have live data such as the heart rate displayed right on the watch face 24 hours a day, which is pretty cool. The buttons look to be exactly the same. No difference there in their feel or their responsiveness. Now on the back, you're going to have two of the biggest differences, which are going to be the heart rate monitor and then also the charging connector. So on the 245, you have the most up-to-date charging connector, which is what is used on the Fenix 5, the Instinct, and the Vivo Active 3. So all the newest watches have that new connector. And you also have the newest heart rate monitor, which is a little bit different because the 245 includes the feature of pulse ox, which is going to detect your blood oxygen level. The 645 does not have that feature. So really, if you're talking about looks, the main concern is going to be the stainless steel bezel versus the black bezel of the 245. So now that we've talked about the look and the design of these two watches, let's talk about some of the main feature differences. So on the Garmin 645, you're going to have Garmin Pay available, where you don't have to have your credit card with you. You can actually use your watch to make purchases at stores where it's compatible. That is not available on the 245. So that's going to be one of the main advantages of the 645. Now when it comes to the 245, you have different things that are available. The new body battery that Garmin is putting on their watches, where it kind of just uses its metrics, the sleep, activity, different things like that, heart rate, to kind of determine your energy level throughout the day and how much it's been drained. When it comes to music controls and also music on the watch, if you have the Music Edition, you can fit up to 500 songs on both watches. They're both compatible with Spotify and Beats, all the different music apps that are available from Garmin. And regardless of which edition you have, you can control music that is on your phone. So from a music standpoint, no difference there. When it comes to notification and text responses, both basically have the same capabilities there. You can receive notifications from any app on your phone on both of these watches, and on Android phones you can even respond to text messages from the watch. With both watches here, there's only a small interface difference, but you still have all of the same menu items and everything like that. But let me show you real quick what it looks like to actually receive and read a text on these Garmin watches. So if I just select in, as you can see, you can read the full text of the text message, and also emojis are displayed on the watch face as well, which is really cool. In addition to that, both have the ability to reply, so you can quickly reply with a message. As you can see right there on the 245, very similar interfaces. Another difference is going to be the menus and settings. I go down, I actually have a separate settings on the 645, whereas on the 245 in the new menu, you just go directly into settings by just scrolling down. So you can quickly see everything. You don't have to select in again. And it actually has icons next to each menu item in the settings, whereas the settings in the 645 does not have it. So the 245 has a much newer, cleaner look. But really in the settings, it's exactly the same. You have the same options as you can see. Both of these also have Wi-Fi as well. All right, so now that we've talked about some of the features, including texting, notifications, music, and Wi-Fi, different things like that, and then the Garmin Assistant and incident detection, let's get into the activities and tracking. Really, both of them have similar activities, but the 645 has a lot more of the recreational activities. So let's go through the list of activities that are available, and we'll talk about the differences here. So they both have run, walk, yoga, pool swim, trail run, bike indoor, row indoor, strength, cardio, elliptical, stair stepper, treadmill, indoor track, and bike. Now the 245 has walk interior, which is not available on the 645, and then the 645 has a bunch of different activities that are not available on the 245. So you get ski, you get snowboard, you get XC ski, you get sup, row, floor climb, and then you also get HRV stress, which is going to measure the variations beat to beat with your heart, which is pretty interesting. Those are all not available on the 245. So those are going to be your main differences. So for some reason, neither of these have hiking, but you can also add activities and copy them and then rename them the hiking. So you could just copy the walk activity and then just name it as hike if you wanted to. Because these are for running, we'll do a deeper dive into the run settings here and we'll show the differences. So when it comes to data screens, they're very, very similar. You can see that the text font has changed a little bit with the 245. That might be a little bit easier to read, but really you have the same availability there. With this one new data screen on the 245, it doesn't have any of the borders or anything. It just kind of is large data sets. We have the same heart rate zone data screen, and then just the typical watch face. And then both have the ability to add new data screens. So when it comes to data fields, there are only a few differences between the 645 and the 245. The timer, distance, pace, and then heart rate are going to be exactly the same. When it comes to the speed fields, there's one difference, and that's going to be with the 645 having a vertical speed right here. That is not available on the 245. Some more fields that are exactly the same are going to be run dynamics, cadence fields, and then the temperature fields. Now when it comes to the elevation fields on the 245, the only option you have is just to show the elevation, but on the 645 you have tons of options in the elevation area. Let's go through all of those just so you can see them. The 645 also has compass fields, which are not available on the 245. So now I'll select into that and you can see what those include as well. So 3 fields in there. The 645 also includes muscle oxygen fields, and these do not look to be available on the 245, which is interesting. And then finally, other fields, which are just going to be like battery and things like that, sunrise, sunset, those are exactly the same on the 2 watches. Looking at alerts, you have the ability for custom alerts. You can have heart rate alerts, run walk, pace, time, distance, cadence, calories. So those are all going to be the alerts, very similar there. They both have the ability for a metronome, auto lap, auto pause, auto scroll. So as you saw there for the activity fields, there are some differences. Now I think it's important to be very clear which differences in sensors these devices have. So let's go through those real quick just to be more specific on that. The sensors that the 245 have over the 645 are going to be the pulse ox sensor. The 645, however, has a thermometer. It also has a barometric altimeter and a gyroscope. Those sensors are not on the 245. Now when it comes to the software on these, I haven't found any differences in the responsiveness when I hit buttons or anything like that. They're both very similar, and also they both seem to be very stable. I haven't had either of them crash on me or need a reset. No issues like that at all. When it comes to battery life, both watches actually have a very similar battery life for smartwatch mode, where you're kind of using it with the daily activity tracking. You have notifications and heart rate monitoring, and then a constant connection with your phone. That is 7 days for both of these watches. Now when you're in GPS mode, there's a huge difference. So GPS mode is when you're going to be in an activity using the GPS, and the difference there is the 245 actually has 24-hour battery life, where the 645 actually has a 14-hour battery life. So you get 10 additional hours with the Forerunner 245. 245. So that was a comparison between the Garmin Forerunner 245 and the Garmin Forerunner 645. Both of these watches are very similar with only some differences in the metrics and then sensors that are available on them. The looks and size are also very similar, with the biggest difference being the stainless steel bezel on the 645. If you are interested in either of these watches, I recommend checking the description for links. I will have links to tutorials I've done on both of these watches, as well as affiliate links to where you can purchase these watches on Amazon. If you have any questions about these two watches or the comparison, leave a comment below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If this video helped you, give it a thumbs up, and please consider subscribing to my channel, Gauging Gadgets, more gadget reviews and tech tutorials. Thank you so much for watching.